Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer, and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. Today, we are taking a look at Epsilon Psytrance Essentials for Thorn. It is a preset pack for this amazing synth that is Thorn, and we're going to take a look at this today. The idea for this pack really came with the realization that there's not so much content for Thorn, and that it's a really great sounding synth. The engine of Thorn is really expressive, so expressive that for this bank and just basically while using Thorn, I recommend that you do some post EQing because it's just, well, sadly for now in Thorn, in Pigments there's a very cool parametric EQ. So whenever you push things too much inside Pigments, you can take it off with the parametric EQ. But it's not the case in Thorn. Thorn has a like basic 3-band EQ, and sometimes it's not enough to just tame it down. But it's a happy problem because Thorn just sounds so intense, and we like it like that. Anyway, today we're doing an overview of the pack. I'm going to walk you through each section of the pack and tell you a bit more about some of the presets and the why, the how, and how you can get most out of them. If you like Thorn or just great synths in general, and if you want to learn more about sound design, just get better at music production, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss all the next videos. And now let's dive into Epsilon Psytrance Essentials for Thorn. So we are inside the infamous Thorn, and we're going to check out this bank that is titled Epsilon Psytrance Essential for Thorn. First, let's do an overview of the sections here. First, we have the acid, and there's actually a lot of acid presets, a bit more than usually. And the reason for that is that the bank has been built according to Thorn strength. All the bank, the section, the decision have been made because of Thorn style and Thorn strength, and the acid sound is one of these strengths for Thorn. When I say acid, it's not necessarily your classic 303 acid, but it's one of these distorted resonant leads. Like you can hear right now. We're gonna fire up a couple of these and then we'll move on to other sections, but let's check out the acids. So yeah, as you can hear, it's not necessarily your typical TB303 sound, but they're definitely like leaking all over the place and really like resonanty and almost explosive sounds. And that is possible because of Thorn's filter, also the harmonic filter, and of course the distortion. So these three components makes it a very rich sound. Moving on to the grid section, really cool section, and it's utilizing all the power of Thorn, definitely, with including the noise, the glitch sequencer, and some crazy stuff. Let's check this out. Great section of grid, and you have in there some really sci-fi sounding grids, and you also have some more organic and scratchy stuff like this one. So very complete grid section and unique. So now the leads, great section of leads. Some of them are sequence, others are just plain leads that you can sequence yourself. And there's again different aesthetic. There's also the sci-fi aesthetic. There's some more electronic approach to them. Let's check a couple of these and we're gonna comment after. So for example, this one is sequence, and what's really cool with leads like this that are sequence, you can just uncheck the arpeggio and then it just changes the lead, and it can be also usable like this. And this one becomes a bit more like stabby because the arpeggio is not activated anymore. You can also deactivate the glitch sequence. And for example, this is a completely different aesthetic. So more of a like sweeping resonant lead, almost like for long stabs, long effects. Let's check another one here, Psy Hour. Again, completely different aesthetic here, almost on the verge of almost being a grid type synth. But yeah, different aesthetic, but you know, they all have in common that rich Thorn sound, possible because of the engine and Thorn's feature. Let's check out Sludgy here. And of course, they're made with a bunch of effects. But let's say this delay here is cool. But if you want to have either a shorter delay of just a delay from a third-party plugin of your own, you can just uncheck the delay here and process it on your own. Let's check out Thunderstorm. Again, another arpeggiated lead. Let's hear how it sounds if we uncheck the arpeggio. A very different approach without the arpeggio, but I would recommend to try this with sometimes with the arpeggiated lead. You're gonna come up with something different but still usable. So let's check out another one, last one. Yeah, this Aquastar. Yeah, very kind of like very sci-fi, like very trippy, technologic approach on this one. Really cool stuff. So now enough leads, and let's check out the pads. So all these pads, they benefit from the glassy and the the very expressive character of Thorn. So it's almost easy to get. You know, if you compare it to Serum or even Vital is capable of these type of sound, but with Thorn it just comes so naturally, and you know, it's so expressive. Again, for example, if a sound designer would need like some very classic pad, Thorn would not necessarily be the choice. But if you want something like with unique and crazy expressiveness, Thorn is definitely a really good synth for that, and I think these pads is the proof of that. Now the plucks. This one even has a sequence built in. It sounds so fat. This one sounds like fat, both fat and crispy at the same time. That's so strange. There's not a lot of these plugs. There's 5 of them. Since you know it's a bit more useful in trance than Psytrance, but still it's very good to have like 5 of these, because even though you're doing Psytrance, it's great to have these like tonal plugs and tonal elements that you can include in your tracks. Let's now go to the sequences. This is Across the Universe. So what's really cool with the sequences is that, let's say there's a lot of things you can do from there. Let's say you like the sound, but you don't like the sequence, you can just swap it to something else. But also, if you downloaded the free pack, the free Thorn booster pack by Fractal Sounds, you have 15 arpeggiator available, and you can swap a new arpeggiator preset in there. So something like this. So there's a bunch of different arpeggiator, and that's really cool. And another thing you can do inside a sequence is, let's say you like this sequence, like you really like the melody of it, you can kind of do the opposite. You can keep that section here and start to work around the preset, actually, in a similar similar pattern. There's again in the Thorn booster pack from Fractal Sounds, it's free. You can swap in another wavetable here. Well, it's not a wavetable, but like just another waveform here. And you know, even if you don't have the booster pack, there's some metallic stuff in there. So again, quite easy to end up with something nice inside the preset. And also, of course, you can use it as is, because they're really good presets. They're well done. Moving on, we're going to check out a couple of other sequences. This one is called Clean Nostalgia. I think it refers to old school stuff. Also, there's in some of these, there's some shuffle built in. Shuffle is like the swing inside the arpeggiator. So if you like the sequence but you don't like the shuffle, you can put it at 0. And gate is another parameter that you can either put more or less. So I definitely think that the arpeggiators and this, like all the sequencing in Thorn, is another strength of Thorn. That's why there's a lot of presets that involved sequencing like this. So maybe just a last one before going into the synth. Now the synth section, in a similar fashion than the plucks, there's not a lot of these because Psytrance is, it's not it's not necessarily these types of synth that you need, but it's cool to have a couple in the pack so you can have some, I would say, more classic and typical synths like this one. Again, crazy delay, but delay is there for you to use it, but you can also bypass it again, like I mentioned already. But it's like the presets are made to they're like pushed to their limits as is, and yeah, you can take off what you don't like and keep what you like. Liquid Moog. Here, even if I say, like, yes, it's like classic synths, but even though this one it does have like a very unique sound that is brought by Thorn. It's yes, it's the classic approach, but there's something inside it that is not, it's not like your normal analog synth. That was Tide. Finally, the last section is the zaps, and the approach for these zaps is, with fractal sounds, the idea is to push sound further, like humbly push sound further. So, there's your typical Psytrance zap that is like a saw wave and a filter, and it's your typical stuff. So the idea here with this pack was to, again, use the strength of Thorn, this metallic sound and like glassy sound, and also try to take advantage of that and use the concept of the zaps in Psytrance, but infuse that with the power of Thorn and to get something really unique. And these are the results. So that was the Epsilon Psytrance Essentials for Thorn. And that's it for this video. Humbly, I think it's a really great bank, and I had a lot of fun making it. The projects I choose is projects that are stimulating and that I can have creative results with. I'm not looking for the generic and boring stuff, and that's good because with Thorn, that's not what you have. You don't have generic and boring. You have creative and expressive. So that's really what there is inside this bank. If you want the bank, the link is in the description. It's Epsilon Psytrance Essentials on Fractal Sounds. And also, if you need some one-to-one mentoring, you want some group lessons, just get deeper into electronic music production, don't forget to check out my community of students. The link's in the description. And until then, I will see you in another amazing video. Cheers.